I can't believe this. I have to be married by 5 p.m. today, or I lose everything my father left me. Ezine's voice filled with anxiety. Amina Ibe, her stepmother, sat with a smirk, her eyes gleaming with satisfaction. What will you do, Ezine? You have just a few hours left. Ngotsi Ibe, Ezine's stepsister, joined in, her laughter echoing through the room, a cruel reminder of the ticking clock. Tick tock, Ezine. Time's running out. Welcome to our channel as we dive into the most captivating stories of Ezine's inheritance marriage that will keep you on the edge of your seat. As we dive deep into this tale of family conflict, political intrigue, and the struggle for power. Get ready to immerse yourself in a world where secrets run deep and betrayal is just around the corner. So grab your popcorn, sit back, and enjoy the story. Ezine Chukwudalu, the eldest daughter of the late George Chukwudalu, stared at the will in disbelief. The document, written in her father's precise handwriting, laid out a shocking stipulation. To claim her inheritance, she must be married by 5 p.m. today. The clock was ticking, and the pressure was unbearable. Her stepmother Amina lounged on the sofa, a glass of champagne in hand, watching Ezine with a smirk. Next to her sat Ngozi, her stepsister, who was practically glowing with anticipation. What will you do, Ezine? You have just a few hours left, said her stepmother, Amina. Ezine's mind raced. She had never been close to a stepmother or stepsister, and she knew they would do anything to take her father's estate from her. The estate, with its vast wealth and influence, was more than just a financial boon. It was a symbol of her father's legacy. As Edzine contemplated her options, the door to the study swung open and Emeka Nwosu walked in. Tall, well-dressed, and exuding confidence, Emeka was a man who commanded attention. He had been a close associate of her father, though Ezine knew little about him. Marry me, Ezine, said Emeka. Together we can ensure that your father's legacy remains intact. Ezine was taken aback by the sudden proposal. She barely knew Emeka, and yet there was something in his eyes that made her believe he was the solution to her problem. Why should I trust you? Ezine asked. Because I have just as much to lose as you do. Your father's estate is more than just money. It's power, and power in the wrong hands can be dangerous. Answer Emeka. With no time to weigh her options, Ezine reluctantly agreed. The marriage was to be a business arrangement, a means to an end. But little did she know, it was just the beginning of a much larger conflict. The wedding was a horrid affair, held in the Chukwudalu family's private chapel. Only a handful of people were present, including Father Chinedu Okiki, who had served the family for years. As the ceremony progressed, Ezine couldn't shake the feeling that she was walking into a trap. Father Chinedu conducted the ceremony. Do you, Emeka Nwozu, take Ezine Chukwudalu to be your lawfully wedded wife? Yes, I do. And do you, Ezine Chukwudalu, take Emeka Nwosu to be your lawfully wedded husband? Yes, I do. As the words left her lips, Ezine felt a chill run down her spine. She was now Mrs. Emeka Nwosu, bound to a man she barely knew, in a marriage that felt more like a transaction than a union of love. Weeks after the wedding, Ezine began to notice that Emeka was deeply involved in political dealings that he never discussed with her. He would leave the house early and return late at night, often with a tense expression. One evening, Ezine confronted him. Emeka, you're always so secretive. What are you really up to? Asked Ezine. Emeka looked at her, his face unreadable. It's better if you don't know. The less you know, the safer you are. This answer did not satisfy Ezine. She had grown up in a world where secrets were currency, and she was determined to uncover the truth. Her instincts told her that something was very wrong. As she dug deeper, Ezine discovered that Emeka was entangled in a political alliance with Babatunde Adeyemi, a powerful and corrupt congressman. Babatunde was known for his ruthless tactics, and Ezine realized that she had been drawn into a dangerous game of political chess. While Ezine grappled with the political intrigue surrounding her marriage, tensions within the Chukwudalu household escalated. Ngozi and Amina grew increasingly resentful, believing that Ezine's marriage had thwarted their plans to claim the estate. One afternoon, Ezine overheard a heated argument between her stepmother and stepsister. "We were supposed to have it all, but now that witch has taken everything from us," said Ngozi. "Patience, Ngozi. We'll find a way to take it back. Ezine is not as strong as she seems," said Amina Ezine's stepmother. Ezine knew that she had to be on guard. The people she once considered family were now her enemies, and she could trust no one. As the days passed, Ezine's suspicions about Emeka grew. One night, while Emeka was out, she searched his study and found a hidden file. Inside were documents that revealed a shocking truth. Emeka had been married before. The file detailed a marriage to a woman named Adaura Nadi, who had died under mysterious circumstances. There was also a birth certificate for a child, Amara Nadi, who was listed as Emeka's daughter. Ezine's heart pounded as she realized the magnitude of the secrets Emeka had been hiding. "Ezine, why didn't you tell me about this?" When Emeka returned home, Ezine confronted him, holding the file in her hands. Emeka's expression hardened. "I didn't tell you because I knew you would leave, and I couldn't bear the thought of losing you," explained Emeka. But Ezine was not easily swayed. The trust between them had been shattered, and she could no longer look at Emeka the same way. With her marriage hanging by a thread, Ezine knew she had to act. She reached out to Ifeanyi Okafor, Emeka's campaign manager, who had always seemed trustworthy. Together they began to piece together the puzzle of Emeka's past and his connection to Babatunde. "Ezine, you're playing a dangerous game. Babatunde is not someone to be trifled with," said Ifeanyi. "I don't care. He's using Emeka, and I won't let him ruin everything my father built," said Ezine. As they dug deeper, Ezine and Ifeanyi discovered that Babatunde had been manipulating Emeka from the start. Babatunde wanted control over the Chukwudalu estate and saw Emeka as a means to that end. Emeka had been coerced into the marriage, with Babatunde holding his dark secrets over his head. But Ezine was not about to back down. She devised a plan to expose Babatunde's corruption and free Emeka from his clutches. It was a risky move, but Ezine was determined to see it through. As Ezine prepared to expose Babatunde, she faced a shocking betrayal. Ngozi, driven by jealousy and greed, had secretly aligned herself with Babatunde. She had been feeding him information about Ezine's every move, ensuring that Babatunde stayed one step ahead. One evening, Ezine returned home to find Ngozi waiting for her, a smug smile on her face. "Ezine, did you really think you could outsmart us? You're just a pawn in a game far bigger than you." said Ngozi. Ngozi, how could you? We're family, said Ezine. Family? You were never family to me. You took everything from us, and now it's time for you to pay. Ngozi added. The confrontation turned physical, with Ezine narrowly escaping Ngozi's clutches. But the damage was done. Ezine now knew that she was truly alone in this fight. The day of reckoning arrived. Ezine, with Ifeanyi's help, had gathered enough evidence to expose Babatunde's corruption, but she knew that going public with the information would put her life in danger. Babatunde was not a man to be crossed lightly. In a Tains meeting, Ezine confronted Babatunde with the evidence. It's over, Babatunde. I have everything I need to take you down, said Ezine. Babatunde, unfazed, leaned back in his chair, a cold smile playing on his lips. You're brave, Ezine, but bravery won't save you. Do you really think you can win against me? As Babatunde's men closed in on her, Ezine realized just how precarious her situation was, but she refused to back down. With a determined expression, she stood her ground, ready to face whatever came next. At that moment, Detective Olamide Ajayi burst into the room with a team of officers, guns drawn. Babatunde Adeyemi, you're under arrest for corruption, extortion, and conspiracy to commit murder, commended Detective Ajayi. As Babatunde was led away in handcuffs, his expression darkened. He knew that this was only the beginning of a long battle. But for Izine, it was a victory, albeit a bittersweet one. With Babatunde behind bars, Ezine was finally free to claim her inheritance and rebuild her life. But the cost had been high. Emeka, who had been a pawn in Babatunde's game, was now a broken man, haunted by his past mistakes. Ezine knew that their marriage could never be the same. The trust between them had been shattered, and the love they once shared was gone. I'm sorry, Ezine. I never wanted any of this, Emeka explained. It's too late for apologies, Emeka. We've both lost too much, sighed Ezine. As Ezine walked away from the man she had once loved, she felt a sense of closure. She had fought for her father's legacy and won, but at what cost? The shadows of Lagos had taken their toll, and now Ezine was left to pick up the pieces of her shattered life. Months passed, and Lagos began to heal from the wounds inflicted by Babatunde's corruption. Ezine, too, started to rebuild her life. She took control of her father's estate, using the wealth and influence to help those who had been wronged by Babatunde's regime. But Ezine was no longer the same woman who had walked into that hasty marriage. She was stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever to make a difference. As she stood on the balcony of her father's estate, looking out at the bustling city below, Ezine knew that she had the power to shape her own destiny. The shadows of the past were behind her, and the future was hers to create. And that wraps up Inheritance Marriage, a tale of power and betrayal. Ezine Chukwudalu's journey has been one of heartache, betrayal, and ultimately triumph. She has faced the darkest corners of Lagos's political world and emerged stronger for it. We hope you enjoyed this story. If you did, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more stories that keep you on the edge of your seat. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.